How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lone Wolf, and today I wanted to do a video because I finally added this Cotco Canyon SRI. It's a new vehicle. I believe it comes with the Year 1 pass, but yeah, when we first got the game it wasn't in for a little while. That's what she said. And apparently then they said it was going to be added like when the game properly releases. I don't believe it was about a day late. But yeah, finally we've got it, so better late than never. And yeah, that's a look at it when it's stock. I've got a couple of them now. The one nice thing about them, I've not gone fully into details because I'll probably do some kind of like gameplay and review on this vehicle. I just wanted to get some footage and sort of get it out there because yeah, they've finally added it. And yeah, one nice thing is there's a fair amount of things you can upgrade on it already without having to go around and unlock stuff. I assume because it's kind of like an extra vehicle for the Year 1 pass, they've not really factored in, say, like doing missions to unlock stuff on it, which personally I prefer. It would have been nice to have it on day one because it's quite a good, I don't know, quite a good demonstration vehicle for learning like how the upgrades work in the game, like how you fill the slots of the roof rack and the side rack, and I can fit a little bit of stuff on the front bumper on this one. Yeah, it's just quite a good example of that really, and it's quite nice to have like a slightly more done up vehicle that it's got a bit more pace, but it's still with the same gearboxes where, I mean the high range one, but I believe it's similar to Snow Runner where the Scouts have like a different high range to the trucks. But yeah, as you can see, it ticks along. I was like watching the suspension at the minute because there's the lift kit and then the rock crawler kit, and they both look the same, but it says the rock crawler kit is like softer suspension. And yeah, just as I pan the camera back, I was already like flying off the cliff, like some National Lampoon's Vacation thing going on. Yeah, I will say, like, it looked alright as a jump. Things went pretty well. Kind of got a little bit lucky there. I've been jumping various things off cliffs for the last few days in this game. Almost hit there. But yeah, there's some, like I say, it's definitely nice to drive. I've put mud tyres on it, and then yeah, as you can see, I just kind of pretty much every upgrade I could kind of put on for the minute, I gave it a go. And of all the camos, they needed like a yellowy, greeny, red one, make it look like a proper Jurassic Park truck. They kind of, a few get close, but not close enough. Yeah, and then like I say, I'm gonna kind of do a proper gameplay and review of this truck, I reckon, but I didn't have time to do it tonight. I've kind of, to be honest, I was testing out again like ways of making money and stuff. There is ways to increase your money. I'll just say quickly, one of them is if you unlock it's one of the managers, and it says she gives you like 30% selling price. If you hire her and then go on Little Colorado and get the that anchor that sells for $5 grand, it'll sell for $8 grand if you've hired her, and she costs $1.50 to hire. So you make $1.50 just off that. But then if you sell winches and other jack screws and anchors and that, it'll give you more money. Again, I'll probably do a video a bit more sort of detailed on that. There's my old loaf in the background. It's goddamn professional, I'll tell you. The loaf has been pretty damn good. Driving them around exploring places, and then I got to somewhere and I needed to get off a cliff, and then I was like, oh yeah, shit, I've not not brought any jack screws or anchor things. And it's like, yeah, just send him off. Job's a good one. He bounces around, he gets back to his wheels. He's like the weebliest, wobbliest weeble wobble there ever is. Yeah, see, like I said, the first time I jumped off the cliff went better. This time I did a front flip, tried to steer out of it, got a tank slapper, and I rolled already like loaf. So yeah, I'd made it about, what, a minute and a half into what was supposed to be footage of the Cotco Canyon, and yeah, I mean, look, loaves like this is how you nearly tip, but save your own bacon, like a goddamn professional. You can turn the metal detector into some kind of blues and twos. Operation Loaf. I mean, look at him go. What a goddamn professional. Don't even know, is it disrespectful if you cartwheel over someone who's fallen out of a wheelchair, if you then help them back into their wheelchair afterwards? Yeah, I mean, Loaf's gone full, I don't know, Jiu-Jitsu, Jean-Claude Van Loaf. Van Loaf. Yeah, did a cartwheel over this. And then I think it glitched the footage, I reversed up. Oh no. Oh yeah, no, it is. it did glitch the footage a tiny bit, but not all of it. Yeah, reversed up to this, and just as I drove off, I was like, hang on a minute. That looked like my loaf. I mean, look, he knows where he belongs. He's like 1/4 roof rack. I think his granddad was a roof rack. Yeah, so he's already trying to climb on there, and he will become someone's roof rack pretty soon. And then, yeah, did a quick rescue though with a loaf. Like I said, goddamn professional, get yourself a loaf. Most important vehicle in both games. Probably in that Dakar Rally game as well, although I've not got that. Although at some point, I suppose if it's on offer, I'll probably have to get it, because there is a loaf in that as well. And yeah, it's kind of a racing game. I like the idea of a racing loaf. Yeah, like I said, there's not really any specific structure to this video, because obviously unlike SnowRunner, I don't really know these maps too well myself. I'm also thinking like, not that I mean I am kind of driving around aimlessly, but I was sort of more thinking if I do some footage, I don't even know if anyone would know where the maps are like relative to each other and all the rest of it. So at some point in this video I went to that little Colorado map. At the minute I'm on the Arizona map called Grand Canyon. Pretty much when I set off, like just before I jumped off the cliff, that was at the main field base or whatever it's called, so that's kind of where I am in relation. If you follow the road out of here, yeah, jumping off that cliff is kind of like the first thing that comes up really. I think just to my left there's like a post with an ore tied to it. That's part of an earlier mission. It's just kind of telling you of a way to go, but yeah, just to give some kind of reference point. So yeah, like I said, obviously in the future when we're all like a little bit more used to the maps, there'll kind of be a little bit more context to the various videos I do. It seems like the little Colorado run to get the anchors and all the other airdrops seems like a pretty good place to start, because yeah, one, it's like the first map you're on anyway. Secondly, I think for all of us it's been a pretty good way to farm a little bit of money sort of early game before you get too far into it. And yeah, like I've already driven that way in the Step 310, the Action thing, this now, the loaf, the Lodestar, I think just about everything maybe, with the exception of the Don 71. I've sent that out. I used that originally as a like a metal detector vehicle, but then as you can see, loaf, he soon took over that process. Yeah, like I say, so I've been going around finding upgrades with a loaf and just generally trying to uncover the maps a little bit more. It's funny as well, because that stupid drone that keeps saying no flight zone, somehow with a loaf it said no flight zone, but it was still flying the loaf, like he hacked it. And yeah, loaf wasn't taking no flight zone for an answer. The loaf decided it was a flight zone. Just needed to go all Skynet on them. And then yeah, as climbing back up some of these mountains, I'll be honest, off the top of my head, I wouldn't be able to point on a map precisely where I am right now. I will say you can see some of the views going on in the background. Grand Canyon was a pretty good choice really, just because yeah, they have actually some of the scenery. I will say as well, by comparison, these maps feel massive. They're definitely, you're not really just scouting them like in an hour or anything. Maybe in the future when we've got like the, well, it's not really the top trucks, it'd be, if anything, the I'm assuming like the radar trailer or something. This was quite a good example. Climbing up here, it was a bit of a steep one, but I put the tyres down into like where the air pressure's out of them. I didn't realise for a little bit that my engine was damaged. I had my headphones on at some point. I was listening to yeah, all sorts. Great Balls of Fire, old time rock and roll. Yeah, it'd be quite good if this had a radio station, I'll give it that. So yeah, I didn't really hear that my engine was spluttering and dying. I don't really like that. Once you put the tyre pressures down, it constantly starts moaning and giving you like a little bit of damage on your tyres and that. Yeah, it's just one of them things where it's like, meh. At one point, it might even be in the video, I don't know, it was moaning as I was going down like a, sort of one of those rock ledges. And I don't know, I must have got above like 1 mile an hour, so it started moaning that my tyre pressures were low. Yeah, it seems a little bit oversensitive and moaning with that. It gets to the point where it's like, well, I don't really want to bother putting it into low pressures, because it will just moan after like a second. And yeah, unless like, I mean, I've kind of been using it a little bit to sort of demonstrate the principle of it. I will say, it's not actually just a gimmick, that lowering the pressures. I have noticed a few times where it has actually helped climb up like a ledge that I couldn't get up before. Here's though an example where it didn't help. I edited it out in the end because one, the footage glitched a bit, and two, yeah, it didn't make it up. Yeah, this is the little Colorado map, so there's like flying out from the main field base thing, and then I'm going to go and get this first anchor that sells for 5 grand, and then go to the next airdrop, etc. just to, yeah, I thought, if anything, it's certainly at least a run that you could repeat it with a vehicle like of your own, and it should be a pretty identical run because it's just going to all these boxes. Yeah, so it's kind of a good marking stick to figure out where they sit. See, like jumping off there, it landed quite nicely. Again, you get a bit lucky. Sometimes you jump off a ledge like that and you seem to nosedive. Sometimes you jump off and you kind of go pretty flat. But yeah, personally, from reading through them, the rock crawler suspension I think is the best. It basically sort of says like the lift kit, again, they look the same and all the rest of it, but it says the lift kit's got like pretty stiff suspension, whereas the rock crawler kit's like a lot softer. And I think I have driven around with the lift kit, but I'll be honest, I've mostly used the rock crawler kit. I just, from the way the game is, like, I think the lift kit will be, the suspension will be kind of bouncier, it's stiffer suspension, so it'll try and fire you back. If you land a bit awkward, I think it'll ping you like over to your side or whatever quite easily, whereas this rock crawler kit is, yeah, sorry, in my mouth, like a cat hair. Yeah, it's softer, so like as you jump down and all the rest of it, like the suspension seems nice at cushioning you. It's funny, this game, like the user interface of it, all the menus, the way that works, I'll be honest, it's a bit of a pain in the ass, and why on earth they didn't just stick with like essentially the SnowRunner menus. It's basically, my gut feeling is they sort of thought, oh, we're going to have to make it different enough to SnowRunner to sort of justify it being a separate game or whatever. But yeah, I wish they just stuck with the SnowRunner formula as far as that goes. But the actual, there is definitely some moments of like kind of brilliance in this game where the off-roading is definitely does look and feel like a lot more authentic and sim-like in a way. Yeah, you can sort of tell it's a lot more involved and intricate. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's sort of, that's kind of the way to explain it. Yeah, even like little bits like that was quite good. Again, could sort of go either way. I keep forgetting to take out any of these jack screws and anchors with me. I think I'm so used to already just farming them off this map that I kind of don't take anything to keep the inventory room. And then now I'm going from the third airdrop. Apologies, I missed the last bit where I was going up the hill of that airdrop. Well, I didn't miss it. The bloody footage glitched. It was right in the bit that I would have liked to have left in the video. So I'm driving from the third airdrop kind of over to, it must be the western outpost, I think it is. Again, it's on the little Colorado map, so it's the only other like outpost that you get that's not the main base. I rescued a truck from here the other day, the Step 310, that's kind of in a little swampy section. And yeah, again, I was just kind of aimlessly driving around, to be honest, just as a try and get a bit of footage, trying to, there's not, for now at least, like much variation going on, say, in the maps. Like, this is Grand Canyon and it's this kind of terrain and everything all over the place, but you've got obviously mostly dry stuff you're driving over. There is some wet patches that you do actually bog down in. I've had a few bits where, like, once I've got a bit stuck as well, I've sort of just floored it and wheel span and dug myself into the mud. And yeah, like, again, there's elements of this game that's really good, and there's elements of it that drive me mad and are bad, and yeah, objectively it'd be nice if they redid a few things, like some of the way the menus were. Although I don't know, now it's like one way or another, for better or worse. I've kind of got used to them, so I suppose if they changed it now, I'll probably have to try and re-remember it all over again. But yeah, you can just tell, like, some of the ways it works is a bit, you sort of scratch your head and think, who the hell decided that that was the smartest way to go around it or whatever. I think here's a good example of it takes a couple of attempts, but again, a bit more like authentic off-road feel. I'm trying to get over to the left. This game does have a slight tendency to, if you're steering left, for example, the front keeps wanting to go right. Yeah, I believe I put my tyre pressures down, all the rest of it. I kind of reversed a little bit, but kept my front end like up the ledge. And yeah, bit of accelerator, and I wasn't even paying enough attention, but I think I didn't need to fire a winch out or anything. I actually made it up on my own. And yeah, it'd be nice if there was another way to get this vehicle in the game, to be honest. Obviously, I've got it because I got like the year pass thing, but even people with the base game, like, say we get it as the year pass, but it'd be nice if people with the base game could still buy it. But that said, I don't think it's like some broken OP thing, definitely not, but I will say it feels definitely a little bit nicer, because just like I've been able to put the top engine in, so the power to weight's obviously a bit better and all the rest of it. The tyres, I have got some of the vehicle, I think, that's got muds on it, so... But obviously, once you get to muds, it's only got one set of muds unlocked. There is still a fair amount of tyres that are locked, but I'm assuming they all now pair with like other vehicles in the game. But say as far as this thing's engine, etc., it's kind of unique to this vehicle, so they didn't really like lock it behind, say, a mission on one of the maps. So yeah, that's why, like, for example, you can get the roof rack and so on as well. And yeah, like I say, that was about it really, a little demonstration here. Do I end up, oh no, do fire a little winch out. You kind of, if you fire a winch, even if it goes sideways, you can kind of wing it, use a bit of the sideways momentum to get you up. Yeah, I think I'd jump off a cliff now, and it's funny, because by luck, I don't really take any damage on the way down, and then the last little kind of smack down on the rock, I'll take a right hit of damage. But yeah, anyway, that's about it for today though. I hope you enjoyed, I hope that helps. Get yourself one of these if you can, the Cotco Canyon, definitely get yourself a loaf, and yeah, I'll be back soon.